The ancient dagger plunged toward Lyra's heart as the gathering of 5 packs watched in horror. Her blindness, once mocked, then celebrated, now seemed to seal her fate as Luna Queen. She couldn't see the blade coming, couldn't see the traitor who had played friend for 3 moons, couldn't see her mate Theron chained in silver 50 feet away, his alpha strength useless against the Council's bonds. A blind Luna will be the death of us all, the Northern Pack's elder had said. How right he seemed now. The scent of wolfsbane filled her nostrils, poison enough to kill even an alpha king's mate. But there was another scent, barely detectable beneath the poison, a scent that changed everything. A scent that only she, in her sightless state, could have noticed. "Lyra!" Theron's roar shook the mountain itself, his muscles straining against chains that had held alpha kings for centuries. The silver burned through his skin to bone, but he felt nothing except the terror of losing her. The blade whistled through the air, 3 inches from her heart. 2, 1. And then Lyra did something impossible, something that would rewrite the laws of what an Omega could become, something that would either crown her as the most powerful Luna in 500 years, or leave her dead on the ancient challenge stones. The Watchers would later say that in that moment, the blind Omega moved, like the moon goddess herself. But we must go back. Back 3 moons to when the first whispers began. Back to when being chosen by the Alpha King was not the ending of Lyra's trials, but only the beginning. 3 moons had passed since the hunt. 3 moons since Lyra had stood bloodied but victorious, having killed her first rogue. 3 moons since Alpha King Theron had declared her his chosen Luna before 5 packs. The morning sun warmed Lyra's face as she sat in the Luna's garden, her fingers trailing over the raised dots of a book. Braille Theron had sent for these texts from the human cities, determined that his mate would have every tool to lead beside him. The unfamiliar letters told stories of previous Lunas, their strengths, their victories, their sight. "You're thinking too loudly again." Theron's deep voice rumbled from the doorway. His footsteps approached, and she felt the bench dip as his powerful frame settled beside her. "The Northern Pack arrives today," Lyra said quietly, turning her face toward where she knew his would be. Elder Marcus specifically requested to assess the new Luna. Her mate's muscles tensed, she could feel it in the air between them. "Marcus is traditional, set in the old ways. But he will respect you as I do." "Will he?" Lyra's fingers found a particular passage in the book. "According to this, no Luna in our history has been blind," Theron finished, his hand covering hers. "No Luna has been blind. No Luna has been an Omega either. You are rewriting history, my love." But even as he said it, Lyra could smell the worry beneath his confidence. Elder Marcus wasn't just traditional, he was powerful. His alliance had kept peace between the packs for decades. Without his approval, "My king," Beta James's voice cut through the morning peace. His rapid footsteps spoke of urgency. "The Northern Pack has arrived. They're not alone." Theron stood, his protective instincts flaring. "Who?" "4 other packs, Your Majesty. They've all come. Elder Marcus has called for a formal Luna's trial." The book fell from Lyra's suddenly numb fingers. The Luna's trial. She'd just been reading about it. An ancient rite not invoked for 2 centuries. A test that could only end in complete acceptance. Or death. "He can't!" Theron snarled, his alpha power rippling through the air so thick that even Lyra could feel it pressing against her skin. "I chose my mate. The choice is made." "The law is clear," James's voice trembled. "If 3 or more packs question a Luna's ability to lead, they can invoke the trial. My king, all 5 packs have signed the petition." Lyra stood, her hand finding her mate's arm. Despite the terror coursing through her veins, her voice remained steady. "What does the trial entail?" James hesitated. The silence stretched until Theron commanded, "Tell her. 3 tests, Luna. Of wisdom solving a dispute that has plagued the packs. Of strength combat against a challenger of their choosing. And," he paused, and Lyra could practically taste his fear. "And," she pressed, "and of sight. You must lead a night hunt, alone, and bring back the white stag that has evaded our best trackers for decades." Lyra's heart stopped. The white stag was legend, a creature so elusive that many believed it was blessed by the moon goddess herself. To hunt it required not just skill but the ability to read the subtlest visual signs. Broken twigs, disturbed earth, the play of moonlight on white fur, all things she could never see. "When?" Her mate's voice had gone deadly quiet, the calm before devastating violence. "Tonight, my king. The trial begins at moonrise." Lyra felt Theron turn toward her, felt his hands cup her face with desperate gentleness. "We'll find another way. I'll challenge Marcus myself. No." She placed her fingers over his lips. "If you fight my battles, I'll never truly be Luna. They'll always see me as the blind Omega hiding behind her Alpha's strength. You could die. Then I die as Luna," she said firmly. "Not as the mistake they all think you made." From the main courtyard came the sound of many wolves arriving. Dozens, hundreds perhaps. Word had spread. They were all coming to watch the sightless girl fail. But there was something else in the air, a scent Lyra recognized but couldn't quite place. Someone among the arrivals was familiar. Someone who shouldn't be here. "Theron," she whispered. "Who is the Northern Pack's new beta? The one who replaced Harold?" Her mate's pause told her everything. "How did you know they had a new?" "Her scent. I know her scent." Lyra's blood ran cold as the pieces clicked. "It's Helena, the woman who had tormented her at the mating ball 3 moons ago, who had forced her to sing for mockery, who had tried to sabotage her during the first hunt. Helena was back, and now she held real power. "My king! My Luna!" a new voice called from the gate. "Elder Marcus requests your immediate presence in the Great Hall. He wishes to inspect the Luna before formal proceedings begin." The messenger emphasized "inspect" with barely hidden disdain, but there was something else. The elder himself carried the scent of old parchment and investigation. Was he truly here just to judge? Or was something deeper at play? Lyra straightened her spine. "Then let's not keep them waiting." As Theron led her toward the great hall, Lyra caught something else on the wind. Wolfsbane. Just a trace, barely there. Someone had brought poison to her home. The trial, it seemed, would be more dangerous than anyone imagined. The great hall thrummed with the pressure of 5 packs worth of wolves. Lyra could map the room by heartbeats alone, hundreds of them, all racing with anticipation. The smell of challenge, thick and metallic, coated her tongue. "Behold!" Elder Marcus's voice rang out, ancient and sharp as winter wind. "The blind Luna comes." Lyra's hand rested on Theron's arm, but she didn't lean on him. Each step was measured, confident. She'd memorized every stone of this hall in 3 moons of preparation. She would not stumble now. "Elder Marcus," she said, tilting her head at the precise angle where his scent was strongest. "Welcome to the Silver Moon Pack. Can you see me, child?" "No." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Such simple honesty, delivered without shame. "Then how?" Marcus stepped closer, his old bones creaking. "Can you see threats to our people? How can you read the treaties you must sign?" How can you identify enemies in a crowd? The same way I identify you. Now, Lyra replied calmly. You ate venison for breakfast, seasoned with rosemary from the northern mountains. Your left knee troubles you. You favor your right side when you walk. You carry silver daggers. 3 of them, though silver is forbidden in peaceful meetings, and she paused, letting her words sink in. You're not just afraid. You're investigating something. The scent of old records clings to you, Elder. You're gathering evidence, not just passing judgment. Marcus's heartbeat skipped so slight that only Lyra could have caught it. Clever observation, he said carefully, his tone giving nothing away. Clever words. Helena's voice cut through like poisoned honey. But words won't save you in the trial. Lyra turned toward her former tormentor. Hello, Helena. Congratulations on your promotion. Tell me, how many challengers did you have to kill for the position? And how convenient that your brother disappeared just before you arrived at Marcus's door. Helena's composure cracked for just a moment. My brother abandoned the pack. He was weak. Was he? Or did he discover something he shouldn't have? Theron's growl started low, but Marcus raised his hand. Enough. The terms of the trial are set. First test begins at sunset wisdom. You will resolve the boundary dispute. Every wolf knew of the boundary dispute. 3 packs had been fighting over a valley rich with prey for 50 years. No alpha had ever found a solution that satisfied all parties. Second test at midnight combat. Your challenger has already been selected. Who? Theron demanded. That's for the Luna to discover. If she can. The Elder's smile was audible, but there was something performative about it, as if he were playing a role. And the final test at dawn, the white stag. Bring us its horn, or forfeit your title and your life. The law states she has the right to 1 advisor, Theron said quickly. No, Lyra's voice rang clear. I stand alone. But the law also states that any wolf who assists during the trial shares the Luna's fate if she fails. She turned to where she knew her mate stood. I won't risk you, any of you. She heard Beta James shift nervously. Luna, perhaps. A new scent hit her nose. Blood. Fresh. Human. There's a human, she said suddenly. Injured. Close. Impossible, Helena scoffed. Humans don't come to pack lands. But Lyra was already moving, following the scent trail. The crowd parted, unsure whether to stop her. She pushed through the great doors into the courtyard, her pace quickening. There! Someone shouted. By the walls! A young human girl, perhaps 16, had collapsed near the outer wall. Blood seeped from claw marks, rogue attacks. But there was something else. Something wrapped in her arms. Please, the girl gasped. Please. Protect him. Lyra knelt beside her, her hands finding the bundle. A baby. A human baby. Barely months old. But the scent. This child. Lyra breathed. He's half-wolf. The crowd erupted. Half-breeds were forbidden, considered abominations by the old laws. The punishment for creating one was death for both parents and child. Kill it, Marcus commanded, but his tone held an odd note as if he were reciting lines rather than giving a genuine order. Kill them both. The law is clear. The mother is dying anyway, Helena added coldly, too quickly, too eager. End the abomination's suffering. Lyra stood, cradling the infant. He was so small, so warm. His tiny heart beat against her chest like a bird's wings. No. No? Marcus's voice turned dangerous, yet still strangely theatrical. You would violate our most sacred laws. I would ask you to think, Lyra said carefully. sensing the deeper game being played. This child is half human, yes, but he's also half wolf. He's pack, and we don't abandon pack. It's an insult to nature. I'm an omega mated to an alpha king, Lyra countered. Some would call that an insult to nature, too. The dying girl grabbed Lyra's ankle. His father was Northern Pack. Helena knows. Every wolf turned to Helena, whose face had gone pale. She's delirious, Helena said quickly. Dying humans often. Your brother, Lyra said suddenly, the sense clicking together. That's why he disappeared 6 moons ago. He fell in love with a human. Lies! The child has his scent pattern. Faint, but there. Lyra lifted the baby higher. This is your nephew, Helena. The crowd was murmuring now, uncertain. The Northern Pack shifted restlessly. Even if that were true, Marcus said slowly. And now Lyra was certain he was testing something. The law. The law was written when humans and wolves were enemies, Lyra interrupted. But times change. We change, or we die clinging to traditions that no longer serve us. She felt Theron move to her side. My mate speaks wisdom. The child lives. You cannot. I am Alpha King. Theron's voice carried absolute authority. And she is my Luna. The child lives. Marcus's response was explosive, perhaps too explosive. Then let this be the first test. If you're so wise, blind Luna, you'll keep this abomination alive until dawn. But no pack wolf may help you. Care for a dying human and her forbidden spawn alone, and you pass the first trial. Fail, and we take it as a sign the moon goddess herself rejects your claim. I accept. The human girl's eyes fluttered, fighting to stay conscious. Sarah. My name is Sarah. His name is Michael. The book in my pocket. What book? Lyra asked gently. Evidence. Northern Pack. Selling information. Sarah's voice was fading, but there was something deliberate about her weakness, as if she were performing. Please, save him. Sarah's breathing became so shallow that even Lyra's sharp hearing could barely detect it. To everyone watching, the girl appeared to die. But Lyra caught the tiniest hint. A heartbeat, deliberately slowed. Sarah was more than she seemed. The healing chamber had become Lyra's entire world. 4 hours had passed since sunset, and baby Michael's breathing grew weaker with each moment. Sarah lay perfectly still on the cot beside them, maintaining her death-like state so convincingly that even Lyra occasionally doubted what she'd sensed. The sightless Luna's keen nose had detected it immediately, wolfsbane in the baby's bloodstream. Not enough to kill instantly, but enough to ensure a slow decline through the night. Someone had poisoned the child before he'd even arrived. Please, Sarah whispered, so faintly that only Lyra could hear, maintaining her ruse. Is he? He's fighting, Lyra assured her quietly. She'd tried everything the healing herbs Theron had taught her, the ancient pressure points she'd learned from Ray's texts. But without sight to observe the poison's progression. Footsteps outside, multiple sets. Lyra's head snapped up. No pack wolf may enter, she called out. The elders' rules. We're not entering. Helena's saccharine voice drifted through the door. Just observing. Such a shame about the baby. Wolfsbane is particularly cruel to half-breeds. Their human side can't process it, and their wolf side is too weak to fight it. So Helena knew. Of course she knew. Did you poison an infant, Helena? Me? I've been in the Great Hall all evening. Hundreds of witnesses. A pause. Though I did hear that sometimes wolfsbane can be absorbed through the skin. Even trace amounts on clothing can be fatal to something so fragile. The clothing, Sarah's clothes. Someone had doused them knowing she would carry her child close. Lyra began stripping the fabric away, her hands working quickly, but as she did, her fingers found something else, a hidden pocket. Inside, a small vial. She uncorked it, sniffed carefully. Not poison, medicine, human medicine, but with something else. Moonflower extract, she breathed. The rarest of healing herbs, said to cure any poison. But the preparation had to be exact. 1 hour until midnight, another voice called. Marcus, but with that same strange theatrical quality. 1 hour until your combat trial, little Omega. Perhaps you should abandon the lost cause and prepare yourself. There was something in his tone, almost like he was warning her to prepare for something unexpected. Leave. Theron's voice, dangerous and deep. He couldn't enter, but he was there, just beyond the threshold. All of you, now. The crowd dispersed, but Lyra knew they hadn't gone far. Theron, she called softly. I'm here, my love. Always here. I need you to listen. Don't respond. Just listen. She lowered her voice to barely a whisper. Someone in the northern pack is working with rogues. Sarah mentioned attacks, plural, coordinated. And Helena's brother didn't just disappear. I think he was murdered for refusing to participate. She heard his sharp intake of breath but continued working, grinding the moonflower with practiced precision. The baby isn't random, Theron. This is all connected to a crash from outside, snarls, fighting. Rogues, someone screamed. Rogues in the compound. Go, Lyra commanded. Protect the pack. Lyra, go. I've got this. His footsteps raced away. More screams. The attack was massive, coordinated. Another test? Or something more sinister? Sarah's eyes fluttered open, dropping her pretense for a moment. The book, she said clearly. In my pocket. Evidence. Northern pack. Selling information to rogues. Trade routes. Patrol schedules. Lyra found the small journal, its pages filled with detailed information. This was why Sarah had come here. Helena's brother found out, Sarah continued. Tried to stop them. They killed him. That made it look like he abandoned the pack. Marcus suspects but needs proof. Marcus knows? But Sarah had already resumed her death-like state as footsteps approached. Baby Michael whimpered, pulling Lyra's attention back. The moonflower preparation was ready, but the dosage for an infant, especially a half-breed, she had to guess. 1 drop too much would stop his tiny heart. 1 drop too little would be useless. Outside, the battle raged. She heard Theron's roar, magnificent and terrifying. Moon goddess, Lyra whispered. Guide my hands. She administered the medicine, 3 careful drops on the baby's tongue, then waited. Michael's breathing hitched. Stopped. No, no, no. A gasping breath. Then another, stronger. The baby began to cry healthy, lusty wails that filled the room. Thank you, Lyra breathed, clutching the child close. Luna? Beta James's voice urgent. The combat trial. It begins now. But the attack ended mysteriously. The rogues retreated the moment midnight struck. Marcus says you must come now or forfeit. Lyra stood, carefully placing Michael beside his unconscious mother. The baby was safe. The first trial passed. She barely had time to splash water on her face before James was pulling her toward the combat circle, exhausted from hours of desperate healing. The crowd parted as she entered the ring. The night air was thick with the scent of blood from the rogue attack. Your challenger awaits, Marcus announced. If you cannot even identify who you face, how can you defend your pack? Lyra inhaled deeply. Wolf. Male. Not northern pack, the scent was wrong. Mud. Pine. But underneath, you're not northern pack. You're someone else. Someone wearing northern pack clothes. A laugh. Dark. Amused. Clever little blind wolf. Yes, I'm borrowed for this occasion. From where? The savage lands. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The savage lands produced only one kind of wolf killers who fought in blood pits for sport. That's illegal. Theron snarled. Marcus, this violates. She must face the pack's chosen champion. The elder replied smoothly, though Lyra caught a hint of distaste in his scent. We chose to. Hire. The best. What's your name? Lyra? Asked the assassin. They call me Bone Breaker. I've killed 47 wolves in single combat. You'll be 48. He began to circle. Lyra tracked him by sound, by the displacement of air. He was massive, she could tell by his footfalls. Trained. Lethal. I'll make it quick, Bone Breaker offered, out of respect for your mate. Don't do me any favors. He lunged. Lyra dropped, his claws whistling over her head. She rolled, came up, struck where his kidney should be, hit empty air. He'd anticipated her. His backhand caught her across the face, sending her spinning. Blood filled her mouth. First blood to Bone Breaker, someone called. He came again. This time she heard the slight drag of his left foot, an old injury. She dodged right, struck his knee. He grunted but didn't fall. You're faster than expected, he admitted. But speed won't save you. He was right. She could hear Theron pacing outside the circle, feel his desperation to intervene. But he couldn't. No one could. Her only advantage was that Bone Breaker, like everyone else, underestimated the blind Omega. Tell me, she said, buying time while her exhausted body searched for an opening. How much did they pay you? Enough. He attacked again, a flurry of strikes she barely avoided. One claw raked her shoulder, deep enough to scar. The crowd scented more of her blood, but in his confidence, Bone Breaker had made a mistake. He'd stepped into the one part of the circle where Lyra had trained countless times in these 3 moons, where she knew every stone, every imperfection in the ground. She let him come, let him think he had her cornered. Then, at the last second, she dropped and swept his legs just as his foot hit the raised stone she'd been guiding him toward. He stumbled. Just for a moment, it was enough. Lyra's palm strike connected with Bone Breaker's throat. The massive wolf gasped, clutching his neck, momentarily stunned. She didn't waste the opening. Her knee drove into his already profouder, injured leg, dropping him to one knee. The crowd roared in disbelief. Yield, she commanded, her claws at his throat. But Bone Breaker laughed, a wet, choking sound. You think this is over? His hand shot up, not to attack but to grab her wrist. Listen closely, little Luna. They paid me to lose. What? Make it look good, they said. Then take the fall. But that's not the real plan. The white stag hunt is a trap. 20 wolves wait to. A silver blade sprouted from his chest. No! Lyra gasped. Bone Breaker fell forward, his last words bloody. Trust the elder. He knows. The challenger is dead, Marcus announced. The Luna wins by default. But there was no celebration in his voice, only grim notation. Someone had killed Bone Breaker to silence him. The knife throw had come from the northern pack section. Lyra! Theron was beside her instantly, checking her wounds. He was trying to warn me, she whispered. He said to trust you, Elder Marcus. What do you know? But Marcus had already turned away. Tend to your wounds, Luna. Dawn comes soon enough. Luna! A young wolf raced into the circle. The baby, the human child, he's sick again. Lyra's heart dropped. She raced back to the healing chamber. Michael was convulsing, his tiny body burning with fever. This isn't wolfsbane, she realized. This is something else. I need more moonflower, Lyra decided. Pure this time. The only moonflower grows on the mountain peak, Beta James said. Then I go. The climb was treacherous in darkness. For Lyra, navigating by sound and scent alone, it was nearly impossible. Her wounds throbbed with each movement. The moonflower grew in a sacred grove at the peak. But as she reached for it, another scent stopped her cold. Helena stood in the grove, moonlight casting her in silver. I knew you'd come, Helena said. So predictable. Get out of my way. I'm here to make you an offer. Helena began to circle. Leave. Tonight. Take your mate and disappear. I'll ensure the child survives. You're afraid, Lyra realized. Helena laughed. The white stag? We've caught it, drugged it. You'll be led straight to it tomorrow. But you won't be hunting a stag. You'll be hunting us. 20 of our best trackers. The moment you're far enough from the pack, we'll strike. Theron will know. Will he? When your body is found savaged by rogues? Helena pulled out a letter. Your scent is all over this. We'll say you betrayed the packs. Why tell me? Because I want you to run. An Omega Luna. A blind Luna. It goes against nature. Like your brother loving a human? Helena's composure cracked. My brother was a fool. He was murdered. And you know it. Even if that were true, his child lives. Your nephew. Your blood. Helena snarled, but then stepped back. Take the moonflower. Save the abomination. Come dawn, you'll either be gone or dead. She vanished into the night. Lyra gathered the moonflower with steady hands. As she descended, her sharp hearing caught something howls from the forest. The rogues were massing, waiting. She had until dawn to save Michael and somehow survive a hunt designed to kill her. Dawn was breaking as Lyra finished administering the pure moonflower extract to baby Michael. His breathing had stabilized. He would live. Sarah maintained her death-like state, even as Lyra worked, but whispered, Thank you. When this ends, Marcus will reveal everything. You know the elder? He saved me when Helena's brother was murdered. I've been gathering evidence ever since. Before Lyra could respond, Theron's voice came from the doorway. You should have run. I heard Helena in the grove. You followed me? I heard enough. His voice was anguished. Lyra, please. We can leave and let them destroy everything with their betrayal. She stood. No. Alpha King. Marcus's voice cut through. Dawn has come. The final trial begins. The gathered wolves were silent as Lyra emerged. She could identify 30 Northern Pack wolves who shouldn't be here, Helena's death squad. The white stag was last seen near Crystal Falls, Marcus announced. 5 miles north. You have until sunset to bring back its horn. As she passed the elder, he whispered, Not everything is as it seems. The moon goddess protects the wise. Luna, Beta James whispered, at least take a weapon. No. Lyra straightened her spine. I go as I am. The forest swallowed her whole. For the first hour, she followed the stag's scent trail real but tinged with drugs. The net of wolves was closing, driving her toward the ravine. She smelled it before she heard it, a deep gorge with water rushing below. The perfect place for an accident. Clever, she murmured. Not clever enough. Helena emerged with 15 wolves. Where are the other 5? Lyra asked. Circling back to plant evidence of your betrayal. Helena smiled. Any last words? Just this elder Marcus has been investigating you for 3 moons. Sarah lives. Your conspiracy is exposed. Lies. Truth. And here's more truth. I know you murdered your own brother. Helena's eyes went wild. You know nothing. The wolves attacked. Lyra fought desperately, but there were too many. Helena's teeth were at her throat when Lyra's hand found the wolfsbane at the ravine's edge. She crushed the leaves directly into Helena's eyes. Helena screamed, stumbling backward, lost her footing and fell into the ravine. Her screams echoed until they hit water below. She killed Helena! But before they could attack, howls erupted. The rogues were attacking the pack. It was all a distraction. Lyra gasped. While we're here, they're attacking our home. The wolves looked torn. Go, Lyra commanded. Protect the pack. Half fled immediately. One young wolf hesitated. The elder, he knows? Everything. Go. They ran, leaving Lyra alone and bleeding. A roar shook the forest. The white stag emerged, eyes blazing red from combat drugs. It charged straight at her. She couldn't dodge. The ravine was behind her. The stag's antlers aimed for her heart. 10 feet. 5. 3. No one, Theron snarled, suddenly between them. Touches my mate. He'd broken the trial rules. Theron, what have you done? What I should have done from the beginning. He turned to her. Protected what's mine. The remaining northern wolves surrounded them. According to ancient law, they would both die. The white stag's antlers were 3 feet from Lyra's heart, when baby Michael's cry split the air from the forest itself. Every wolf froze. The stag stumbled, confused. That's not possible, someone gasped. Elder Marcus emerged from the trees, carrying Michael. Beside him walked Sarah, very much alive. Witch? A northern wolf snarled. Half witch, Sarah corrected. Half wolf. Like my son. Like Helena's brother. My mate, whom Helena murdered. You died. We saw. You saw what we needed you to see, Marcus said, his authority absolute. For 3 moons, I've investigated corruption in my own pack. 23 wolves conspired to murder Aluna. My beta Helena orchestrated it all, selling information to rogues. You knew? Lyra gasped. Helena's brother sent me evidence before she killed him, but I needed to know how deep the rot went. The trial was real, but also bait to expose traitors. Sarah moved to the ravine's edge. Helena survived the fall. She caught herself 20 feet down. The white stag shook its head, the drugs wearing off. The trial continues, Marcus announced. Luna Lyra must still claim the stag's horn. But that requires killing it, Theron protested. No, Marcus smiled. It requires wisdom. Lyra understood. Despite her wounds, she approached the stag slowly. I know you're frightened, she whispered, extending her hand. They hurt you, used you, made you something you're not. I know that feeling to be mocked, manipulated, forced to perform for their entertainment. The stag pressed into her touch. But we can choose who we become. The stag lowered its head. There, tangled in its antlers, was an ancient horn wrapped in sacred symbols, the horn of Luna's wisdom, lost for 100 years. The real trial, Lyra breathed. The first Luna was also considered weak, Marcus explained. She too was different, mocked for what others saw as deficiency. The horn waited for another Luna who leads with wisdom rather than might. Lyra carefully untangled the horn. The moment she touched it, warmth flooded through her, not physical sight, but deep understanding. She could sense the truth in every heart present. "The conspirators," she commanded. "Step forward." They couldn't resist. They slunk forward. "You tried to kill me from fear, fear that my blindness made me weak." She raised the horn. "But I choose mercy, exile, not death." "You would spare us?" one asked. "I would show you true strength. Remember that the blind Omega you mocked chose to let you live." They fled. "The trial is complete," Marcus announced, kneeling. "You are Luna." "True Luna." Beta James raced into the clearing. The rogues retreated. The moment the conspirators fled, they lost their inside information. "Furthermore," Marcus continued, "Helena will face justice for murder and treason." "Her fate?" he asked Lyra. "Life imprisonment, but she teaches us about the rogue networks. We turn her betrayal into our strength." Sarah approached with Michael. "He needs parents." "I cannot stay my witch. Blood makes me unwelcome, and I have duties to my own kind." "He has parents," Lyra said firmly, taking the baby. "Theron and I will raise him. Let him be the bridge between worlds." "The old ways are truly changing," Marcus mused warmly. "Not changing, evolving." The white stag bugled once a blessing before disappearing into the forest, free. As they returned to the compound, hundreds of wolves gathered. Lyra stood before them all, bloodied but unbroken. "Today, some tried to kill me. Today, I chose mercy. Today, we learned that strength isn't about perfect sight or pure blood." She raised the horn of Luna's wisdom. "Today, we became what we were meant to be. Not separate packs following old fears, but one people following new hope, judging not by what we see with our eyes, but by what we know with our hearts." Every wolf howled in answer. The blind Luna had not only survived, she had transformed them all. "So," Theron whispered later, as they stood together with Michael, "was it worth it?" "Ask me when Michael is grown," Lyra smiled. "When he proves that different doesn't mean less. And I'll give you the same answer." She pulled him close. "Worth everything, because they mocked the blind Omega and made her sing for their amusement. Until the Alpha King rose to his feet," Theron finished. "And everything changed," Lyra whispered. "Forever." 6 moons later. "Mama!" "Moon," Michael called, pointing at the full moon with eyes that sparkled, one gold, one green. "Yes, little one," Lyra said, her keen senses following his joy. "The moon that blessed us all." "He grows strong," Theron observed, wrapping his arms around them both. From the pack grounds came Helena's voice, teaching young wolves about rogue tactics as part of her sentence. Her imprisonment had become service, her knowledge now protecting the pack she'd betrayed. "Redemption is possible," Theron noted, "for those who choose it." Lyra touched the horn of Luna's wisdom at her side. "Even those who once mocked the blind Omega for their amusement. Until someone rose to defend her? Until someone rose." She agreed, remembering that first night, 3 moons ago, when Theron had stood in the mating ball, changing her fate forever, and showed them that what they mocked was actually their salvation. Michael reached for the moon with chubby hands, determined and fearless, just like his adopted mother reaching for impossible things and somehow grasping them.